Hello and welcome to my science project. Here we have an example of the layers of the Earth. On the bottom we have the inner core, which is solid and made of mostly iron and nickel. And then above that we have the outer core, which is liquid mostly, and it's composed of melted iron and nickel. And then above that is the inner mantle, which is solid, like completely solid due to the pressure. It's made of magnesium and silicone. And above that there's the asthenosphere, which is plastic-like from all the pressure and the heat combined. And it's made of magnesium and iron. Above that we have the rigid mantle in the lithosphere, which is elastic but still solid, and it's made of magnesium and iron as well. And above that is the crust. It's solid and it's made of basalt and rocks. Here we have an example of how a transform boundary works, which is where two plates rub against each other in opposite directions, which forms a fault line like the San Andreas Fault in California. Here we have an example of a ocean-ocean convergent boundary, which is where two ocean plates collide and one gets subducted under the other, causing a trench, and then usually some underwater mountains on the one that didn't get subducted. Over here we have an example of a continent-continent convergent plate boundary, which is where two continental plates collide and one subducts under the other, causing a trench and a mountain range generally. Here we have an example of a ocean-continent plate boundary, where the ocean boundary almost always subducts underneath the continental boundary, because the oceanic plate is more dense than the oceanic, and it usually causes volcanoes, mountains, and a trench. Then here we have an example of a ocean-ocean plate boundary, which is where two oceanic plates separate to form a ridge or rift, whatever you want to call it, where the lava can seep up and sometimes causes volcanoes, which can eventually reach the surface if given enough time to build up. And finally we have a continent-continent divergent plate boundary, which is where two continental plates are separating. This usually causes a ridge or a rift. There's only two that are known, and they are in Africa and Iceland.
That's all, folks.